Hello, my name's Aviva, and today I'm going to be tier ranking all of the books that I have read so far this year. So we're currently at the end of April. We're about like 1/3 of the way through the year, and I have read about 82 books. And I decided that I kind of wanted to tier rank them for you to give you the idea of like if any of them are worth the read or not, at least in my opinion. Like this is how I feel about these books because I feel like I do, like wrap ups at the end of every month, but I don't necessarily tell you if something is like, a specific star rating or not. So I feel like, if you don't very much keep up with all my wrap-ups and know exactly how I feel about each of these books, this might give you like a good idea of like all the books that I read this year and like a quick overview of like if they're worth your time or not. You know what I mean? So I have 5 different tiers that we're going to go through. We're going through loved, worth the read, it was a good time, I didn't love it, and I didn't even finish it. And this is more or less like 1 to 5 stars, but at the end of the day, like I might have rated this something specific like at the time, and like I'm not necessarily going off that rating. I'm going off of like how I feel at the current moment for all of these books sort of thing, because my taste kind of changes over time, like after I get like far away from a book and I forget things and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to be going through like what any of these books are actually about or like any details about them at all, because there are a lot of books to go through, and I have talked about all of these books in my like wrap-ups that I've done at the end of every single month. So I will have a playlist for all of my wrap-ups like linked in the description below in case you wanted to, hear more in detail sort of thoughts on all of these books, because, all of these books I've read since the beginning of January of 22. So you can find all of my reviews about all of these books in all of those wrap-ups sort of thing. You get it? Okay. So with that said, I'm going to start recording my screen and we're going to start with book 1. So Voyeur by Fiona Cole. I'm going to say that I absolutely loved it. Like I would totally reread that book without a doubt. Hooked, I think, was worth the read. It was a Peter Pan retelling. Thoroughly enjoyed it, but would I reread it? Maybe, but I have a lot of books that I would definitely reread. So I don't know. Anyway, worth the read for sure. Playing with Fire, I feel like was a good time. The Stopover by T.L. Swan. I feel like it was a good time, but I remember the ending was like not so up my alley. So I feel like I should say that like I didn't love it so much, but like it kind of was a good time. Like I wish I could put it in the middle, but I can't. So I'm just going to be like really harsh and put it at like I didn't love it. But The Takeover I did read a couple of months after The Stopover, and I absolutely loved that one. Like laugh out loud funny. Oh my God, I couldn't breathe at some parts of that book. Holy crap, that was a good one. From Look Up With Love by Marianne Zapata. Obviously, I absolutely loved that. Priest by Sierra Simone, I did not love. I wish that I could put it at I didn't even finish it, but unfortunately I did finish it, but it's okay. Anyway, Under Lock, absolutely loved. Teardrop Shot by Tijan was a good time. I had some issues with it, but at the end of the day, like, fond memories when I think about that book. So it's good. Anyway, Vicious, I actually did a reread of this book. So this wasn't the first time that I read it. I just reread like the first book in the Sinner of Saints series. And obviously I absolutely loved it because I did a reread of it, Juniper Hill by Devney Perry was definitely worth the read. How to Love Your Neighbor by, I think, Sophie Sullivan. It's too tiny for me to tell, but I'm pretty sure that's the author's name. Anyway, I didn't even finish it. I got like maybe 30 pages in. Dear Enemy, I'm going to say that I didn't love it, but really, like, I should have put it at like it was a good time. But I'm going to be harsh and say that like I didn't absolutely love it, to be honest with you. Anyway, Steel King by Devney Perry. Okay, I wish that, again, I could put this at I didn't even finish it, but unfortunately I did finish it, so we're putting it at I didn't love it because I really did not love it. Anyway, The Raven Boys. So I actually read this entire series, like it was 4 books and I reread it. It wasn't even like the first time that I read it, but I only put the first book on here just because like, let's not waste so much space. But anyway, The Raven Boys by Maggie Stevewater, I obviously absolutely loved because it was a reread. The Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey, absolutely loved, definitely worth the read. Such a good book, but look up trigger warnings. Corrupt by Penelope Douglas, I absolutely loved. Oh, come on, Cooper, don't eat your bone now. Don't eat it now. Come on, it's going to make it so loud. I'm sorry if you start to hear him like eating his bone, but I'm not going to stop him. It's okay. And now it's going to drop. It's okay. It's okay. Let's keep going. Hideaway by Penelope Douglas. Even though I loved Corrupt, I really did love Corrupt, I absolutely hated book 2 and book 3, which was Hideaway and then Kill Switch. Anyway, A Not So Meet Cute by Megan Quinn was definitely worth the read. It was fake dating. I really enjoyed the book. Bad Boys Break Hearts was a good time. That's by Michaela Schmelzer. Probably saying the author's name wrong, but it's okay. Anyway, It Ain't Me Babe by Tilly Cole. I did not love this book. Did I DNF it? Did I DNF the book? I don't think so. I think I made it to the end, but honestly, I feel like I DNF'd it. You know what? I might have DNF'd it. I don't even remember. You know what? I'm putting it there because I didn't like it so much that I can't even remember if I really made it to the end or not. So I might have finished it, but it's fine. Anyway, The Predator, which is the first book in the Dark Verse series, it was a good time. And the second book in the series was a good time too. And then Wait for It by Mariana Zapata. Why would I have known that author's name? Oh my God. Wait for It by Mariana Zapata. Absolutely loved it. No doubt about it. Whatever It Takes by Kristen Becker Ritchie, and then Wherever You Are. Obviously, I absolutely loved. Part of the Addicted / Calloway Sisters series. The Temporary Roomie by Sarah Adams. I didn't love it. I really didn't love it. It was about like this girl that was already pregnant and then had this like enemies to lover sort of thing with like her best friend's brother. I wasn't a huge fan, but it's fine. Anyway, Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. Okay. I think that I absolutely loved book 1, but unfortunately I did not love book 2. So that is like a big jump from book 1, book 2. But if you have seen all of my, reviews on that series, like my vlogs and everything like that, then you'll know why I wasn't a huge fan. But if I'll have them linked down below in case you're actually interested. So yeah, with that said, Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater. So book 1 and book 2. So it's like Call Down the Hawk and then Mr. Impossible. I absolutely loved. So this is actually like, a series that is like attached to the Ravenhood series. And it's about like Rowan, and I loved it. It was really good. I can't wait for the third book to come out. Outmatched by Kristen Callahan and Samantha Young. It was a good time. I didn't love it, didn't hate it. The Air by Sophie Lark was the first book in the Kingmaker series, and unfortunately, I did not love it. The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I'm going to say it was worth the read, but Terms and Conditions, which is the second book in the series, I absolutely loved. A Brush with Love by Maisie Eddings. I think it was worth the read. It was a good time. I'm not so into rom-coms anymore, but it was a solid read. I think if you love rom-coms, then like you'll really enjoy that book. So yeah. Anyway, Luna and the Lie, Mariana Zapata, I absolutely loved. The Trials of Apollo. So this is actually like, 5 books, and I did read all 5, but I only put book 1 on here. I absolutely loved the entire series. Like, I was reading all of the Percy Jacksons for like a couple of months, and, I finally finished it with The Trials of Apollo. I don't know if there's anything else for me to read, but, it was a good time. It was a good time. I very much loved it. Anyway, Waking Olivia by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I absolutely loved. Oh my God, that was such a good book. Like, I want to reread that, like, sometime soon after I forget it enough to like go back and reread. Hopefully I will, because I really enjoyed that book. Anyway, Lessons in Corruptions, I very much did not love. I honestly wish that I DNF'd it. On the first page, it basically told me that like it was a love at first sight story. And for some reason, I was like, it can't be. Like, so many people love this story. Like, and I know that so many people don't love at first sight. So like, it can't actually like turn out that way. And unfortunately it was, and I should have listened to myself and DNF'd it. But like, who wants to DNF a book on the first page? You know what I mean? So anyway, I absolutely didn't love it, but I wish that I DNF'd it. A Discovery of Witches. Okay, so this was actually a reread, and unfortunately, the second time around, I did not love it as much. Like, I absolutely loved this series the first time that I read it, like 2 years ago, but this time around, I'm just gonna say that like it was a good time. Be Still My Heart by Emily McIntyre and Sav R. Miller. I didn't love. I could have lived without reading it. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of it. Then I did a reread of From Blood and Ash. So I reread book 1, 2, and 3, and then I read for the first time book 4. And I'm gonna say that I loved book 1 and I loved book 2, and then book 3 and oops, no, I want this to be in order. Book 3 and then book 4. I very much did not love. And if you want to know why, then watch my review vlog about it. I will have it linked down below. Things We Never Got Over. I'm going to say that it was a good time, but honestly, it's close to being like that. I didn't love it, but like it was good enough that I'm going to let it be on. It was a good time. You know what I mean? Anyway, Ignite by Melanie Harlow it's the sixth book in a companion series, but it was like the first book that I read from the series, and I absolutely loved it. Single dad, he was divorced and he moves into this like house, and the girls living next door, and then they have like this age gap romance. It was so good. I absolutely loved it. Really, really good time. Wrecked by Lauren Asher is the third book in the Dirty Air series, and I think it was a good time. And then Sweet Dandelion by Michaela Schmelzer was a good time as well. Look the Part by Jewel E. Ann, I did not love, but only because it was an accidental pregnancy, and I'm not a fan of that. And I went into the book not knowing that, and then I was very disappointed. So whatever. Anyway, there was more reasons than just that I didn't like the book, but like that was one of the biggest things that I could remember. Anyway, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I absolutely loved book 1 and book 2. Let's keep this in order. But then, unfortunately, I didn't love book 3 as much, but I still think it was worth the read. So, that's why it's going like that. Anyway, Come Back to Me by Corrine Michaels. I think it was a good time. Like, it wasn't so much like my vibe, but I see why people really like the book. Like, I'm not so into second chance romances, and I didn't really think it was going to be like as second chancey as it was. So I didn't love it. But like, if you love second chance romances, then I see why you absolutely loved the book. So yeah, it was a good time. Anyway, The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan. Unfortunately, I did not love. I even owned book 2, and I just like never had the urge to like want to pick it up. So like whatever, didn't love it. Don't Kiss the Bride by Carrie Ann Cole. I'm gonna say that I loved it, but it's funny because I remember giving it 4 stars in the moment, and I feel like anything that's like on 5 stars, like anything that's on my loved, is basically all of my 5-star reads. But like, so really like Don't Kiss the Bride should go on like worth the read. But when I think about it, like when I look back at it, I'm like, you know what? I kind of really did love it. So like, not that I'm necessarily like bumping it up to a 5 stars, but I still think that like I loved it and like that you should read it, So like, if you like age gaps, then like read Don't Kiss the Bride, Anyway, Dear Aaron by Mariana Zapata, I absolutely loved. Drive Me Wild by Melanie Harlow, first book in the Bellamy Creek series. I think it was worth the read. You know what? I did love it, but also like it was slightly cliche, and I feel like, Ignite is in the loved section, and like Drive Me Wild was not as good as Ignite. So like, I feel like I'm going to be harsh and put it at worth the read, Then Forbidden by Carlos Sorensen, I absolutely loved. I cannot wait to now go and read the other books in the series. This was the 4th book in the series. And I very much do plan to go back and read the others because I really liked the author's writing style, and like I'm down to read more of her work. Anyway, Throne of Glass. I'm currently doing my 3rd round of rereading this entire series, but I wanted to add it in. So like at the moment I'm like halfway through. I'm like more than halfway through like Queen of Shadows, but like we're just gonna say like the entire Throne of Glass series I obviously absolutely loved. I'll probably finish it over like the next week or so. So we're just saying that like that is representing the entire Throne of Glass series because I already know that I love it because I'm doing like my 3rd round of rereading it. You know what I mean? Anyway, The Coppersmith Farmhouse, unfortunately, I did not love. I wouldn't have mind DNFing it, but I didn't DNF it. But I wouldn't have minded if I did, like I didn't like it that much. Anyway, The Wedding Crasher, I think, was worth the read. It's kind of like, A Brush with Love. Like, if you're into rom-coms and stuff like that, like you'll really enjoy The Wedding Crasher. But like, unfortunately, I'm not so much into like, rom-coms anymore. So yeah. Anyway, A Deal with the Devil by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I think it was worth the read. Like, it wasn't like as good as Waking Olivia at all. Like, I definitely loved Waking Olivia, like so much more. But A Deal with the Devil, I think it was worth my time, and I am happy that I read it. Mr. Masters, unfortunately, I did not love it. That's all I'm gonna say. Insatiable by Melanie Harlow. This is the 2nd or 3rd book in the Cloverleaf Farms companion series, which is like the same series as like Ignite by Melanie Harlow. So anyway, I'm going to put this at worth the read. And you know why? Because I can't remember so much about what it was even about. Like I feel like I read this like, a couple, like last week, and I'm already trying to think maybe it was like a friends to lover sort of thing. I honestly can't remember, but it was a good time. I remember like, it being a good time. So it was worth the read, even though for some reason, it was so forgettable. Anyway, Darling Venom, I absolutely loved. 5 rounds. Do I be nice and put it like at it was a good time? I don't think so. I'm gonna say that I didn't love it because like I don't even know what I rated it at the moment that I like read it, but like looking back, I feel like I didn't love it. Like not necessarily that it was a 2 stars. Like don't think of this as like, 1 to 5 stars. It's just more of like, I didn't really love it. You know what I mean? And then first semester, I think was a good time. It was like a very like spicy, quick novella, like 177 pages. And like, I was expecting it to be like a full-size book. And then when it like came and it wasn't a full-size book, I was just like, okay, like what can possibly happen in such a short amount of time? So I kind of like lowered my expectations, and then I was pleasantly surprised. So I enjoyed it for what it was. But anyway, that is all of the books that I've read so far this year. So this was fun. I'm looking over it right now and I feel like everything is in the right spot. Like I didn't realize that I had that many loved books this year. I feel like I haven't had like the best streak of reading, but looking at it overall, I feel like it was not that bad. And the one problem is that I feel like I DNF'd more than just 2 books, but I guess I didn't. I don't know. I mean, it kind of makes sense because I'm really bad at DNFing. But anyway, this looks about right. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Leave a comment down below just saying hi, or if you have a comment to leave, because, I love when you guys leave me comments. It always makes me smile. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And until next time, enjoy reading.